Hey guys, Samantha here, and today I'm going to be sharing a video for all of you first-time DIYers. My dad and I restored and brought back to life this beautiful dresser and changing table that you guys are seeing behind me. I have never taken on a project this big, but my dad has owned a painting company in the past, so it was actually really fun getting to learn from him the proper way on how to restore furniture. It was also a special project for us to do together because it's going to be for his first grandchild, a baby girl, so he was just really excited to be able to help me in doing this. So for any of you at home who have been wanting to transform that old piece of furniture, we're going to show you exactly how to do that step by step. So let's get started. So I purchased this piece of furniture from OfferUp for $80. We are pretty sure it is stained dark brown with a solid wood top with veneer face drawers. It is a pretty big project with the multiple gouges you see here, but we are ready to get to work to transform this piece. First step in prepping your piece of furniture is wiping down with some water and mild dish soap, and then you're going to wipe dry completely. Next, you are going to remove all your drawers from the dresser. Don't forget to dust and clean the insides too, as they can be pretty dirty. After cleaning is done, you're going to want to remove all your hardware from the drawers. Make sure all hardware is together and put it in a safe place even if you aren't going to use it for the piece you are working on now. It may come in handy for a different project down the road. Now it's time for sanding. I am using an electric angled palm sander. There are many grits of sandpaper you can use. We decided to use 80 grit for our rough sand and then 220 grit to finish. When sanding, you want to go with the grain of the wood. Depending on the surface condition, it is fine to use circular motions or long, straight strokes. Between sanding rough to finish, you can use a regular towel or a tack cloth to wipe away any fine dust. I really like using the tack cloth for picking up extra fine particles. When sanding, it is important to wear protective gear such as safety goggles and an N95 mask or something similar so you are not breathing in those fine dust particles. As I continue on the rough sand, my dad is fixing any gouges or divots with the wood filler so it will dry, and then we will be able to finish sanding at the exact same time. This is the wood filler we chose to use. It goes on pink and will dry a yellowish tannish color. Directions say it dries within 2 hours, but it is best to let dry overnight if possible. So I just completed sanding a second time with the 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm doing the final wipe down of the whole furniture piece. After 2 hours, our wood filler was completely dry and ready to finish sanding and then be wiped down. When doing a project of this size and the color changes from dark to light, it is very important to use a good primer. We are using Kills 2, which is a water-based product and safer for pregnancy. We used this Valspar kit that I linked in the description below, and I purchased it from Lowe's for about $14. You want to apply paint on the roller from the most front portion of the pan, rolling gently to cover the roller completely and evenly. With the roller, we rolled this in 2 sections using long, straight strokes, and finished using a 2-inch brush to make sure it was even and took off any excess paint that the roller left behind. Here, we are cutting in to make the rolling easier by not dirtying the roller, hitting the ground, and to reach the hard areas that the roller cannot. This is the first coat of primer dried after 2 hours. Now you can resand any rough areas that are not to your liking, then wipe clean and apply your second coat of primer. We decided to use a second coat because of the dark stain, and we wanted to make sure that it was covered properly. Here we are sanding the second coat of primer, and then we'll be ready to apply our first coat of paint. The color I chose to paint the dresser is Spring Iris by Benjamin Moore, and it again is a water-based paint. We actually had some Spring Iris left over from a previous project, so here we are boxing the paints to make sure that it is the same color throughout. Using a hammer and nail, we put 3 nail holes in the inside lip of the can, so when wiping your paintbrush, there are no drips on the outside of the can, and the paint will then drip back into the can. You want to start with a 2-inch paintbrush and paint in sections using straight, even strokes, starting by doing the outer lip first so you can see if there are any paint drips. We also decided to use a little bit more wood filler on the outer lip to get a smoother finish, so here we are just waiting for it to dry again. Make sure you get the underlip and any upper or lower corners while being careful to prevent any paint drips. Here, my sister Morgan is using a 1/2-inch paintbrush to paint the inside of the changing table. After waiting 2 hours, our paint is dry and we are sanding over any parts that have drips or other defects we want to eliminate. We are now hand sanding instead of using the palm sander. The reason for this is we want to sand very lightly and we are using a high finish 220 grit sandpaper. Due to it being super cold out, we moved the project inside to apply the second coat of paint and any touch-ups if needed. The final step in protecting your piece of furniture is to use a hardener such as polyacrylic. You never want to shake polyacrylic because it will cause air bubbles in the poly and could ruin your finish. Mix well with the paint stirrer to apply. When painting the poly on, it may appear milky white or opaque, but do not worry, it will dry clear. Apply in the same way as the primer and then the paint. Once your poly is dry, it is time to assemble hardware. These are the knobs I chose. We decided to use a flat washer due to the pre-drilled opening on the back side of the drawer and the screw being so small. This made the assembly much easier and stronger for tightening the knobs. Due to the length of the stem on the knob, we had two choices, which was 1, to trim the stem, or 2, tape for safety purposes. Because of the fine thread, we were afraid if we trimmed the stem, it would damage the thread, so we just decided to tape them. When assembling drawers to dresser, it is important to have the tracks fully extended out. This gives you ample room to assemble easily using the same method we did when removing the drawers. Next, we are attaching the changing table to the dresser. I wanted to move over the previous location of the changing table to have more room on the side for a diaper caddy. To do this properly, we pre-drilled holes using a smaller drill bit than the size of the screw. This will enable a tight and strong fit to keep the changing table secure. So this is the finished product. I love the way that it turned out. It looks nothing like the piece of furniture we started out with, and I can't wait to use this for my daughter. It's also awesome because as she gets older, we can remove the changing table and use it as a dresser for her bedroom as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I post videos every Sunday, so until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!